Welcome back, everyone. Today we are going to be going over some more differences between the Minecraft, Bedrock, and Java editions. Before we get into the comparison, we need to go over a few ground rules. And the first is that this is a comparison, it is not a competition between the versions, and I won't be saying that one is better than the other, but just pointing out how one is different from the other. And that's the most important thing to remember as we go through this process. The second rule to keep in mind is that this is not going to be covering the major differences between the versions, such as shaders or render distance or ray tracing. This is going to be focused on subtle differences between the two versions. The last rule to remember is that this is not about critiquing the game or the developers, but rather just pointing out differences that I have observed, having spent a lot of time playing both versions. And at the end of the day, Minecraft is a game, and games are about having fun. Our first comparison is going to be how in portals work, specifically within creative mode. So I've made this in portal here in the Java edition, and you'll notice that if you break one of these, it leaves the portal up. So you can remove all of these stones around it, and the portal will remain in place. Switching over to Bedrock, if we create an in portal and we were to break the frame, what would happen? Well, let's check it out. It destroys the portal. Our next comparison is the difference between the color of water when it's in the end dimension. And I noticed this while building a project in the end dimension a couple episodes ago. And you'll see if we place the water in this tub, we've got just the normal blue water, and it's the same as what you would see in the overworld. But how does that compare to water in the bedrock version? Over in the Bedrock version, let's take a look and see what the water looks like here. So if we come over to the tub and we'll get down here and place the water in, it's got this nice purplish tint to it, which is very different than what we saw in the Java edition. In both the Bedrock and Java editions, you have the ability to use looting on a sword to improve the drops that you get from Shulkers. But it's very different between the two versions. Here in Java, if you use it, it only increases the probability that you will receive a Shulker shell if you kill a Shulker, and you don't get more than one in any time. So if we go through, and I've sped this up a little bit to show you how it goes, but you'll see that even though we get a lot of shulkers, we only ever get one shell at a time. And it's very different than what you would see in Bedrock. And as you can see, in this time, we've only collected 4 shells. Switching over to Bedrock, I already have 2 shells, but let's see how many we can get. So if we break one, you'll notice actually, well, we didn't get any that time, but you'll see that instead of only increasing the probability that a shell will drop, it will actually increase the number of shells that will drop at a time. So if we can get one, yes. So there we go. So you can see we got 3 from that one. And if we do it for a little while, let's see how many we are able to get in a sped up clip here compared to what we had over in Java. And you'll notice as we go along that even though we're not getting a drop every single time, because we are getting multiple drops at a time, we end up with a lot more than what we had over in the Java version. So we'll just do a couple more, and then we'll check to see how many shells that we were able to collect. So let's see, we've got a total of 17. The next difference that we're going to take a look at is the amount of information that you are able to see when you scroll over items in the hotbar. And you'll notice down below that when we scroll over items in Java, all it does is reveal the name of the item. It doesn't give us any more detail. So if we have shulker boxes, we need to place it down in order to be able to see what's inside. Otherwise, it'll just say blue shulker box. And with each of these ones, we've got different items in it. And then it also doesn't tell you when you have tools what types of enchantments are on those tools. But let's go ahead and take a look at what we get in Bedrock. Over in Bedrock, you'll see that we have the same setup of tools and shulker boxes. And if we scroll over, you'll see that it reveals not only the enchantments on the tools, but also some of the contents in the shulker box, which helps when you have a bunch of shulker boxes because you're able to tell what's inside without placing it down. The next comparison is another one that's specific to the creative mode. And when you're flying around in Java in creative and you land on a block, it drops you out of the flying mode and you're back to walking all over. Over in Bedrock, if you do the same thing, you can land on a block and it doesn't take you out of the flying mode. You can sit on it, you can press shift, you can go up and down. It doesn't make a difference. And you're able to just do that no matter where you are or how you hit the blocks. You remain in flying mode no matter what. Shift clicking is something that has a lot of uses within the Java edition. So let's say that you've been out mining and you have a full inventory of stone. Well, if you just shift click on a single item, it'll move a single item in. But if you pick up an item and you shift click on another item, all items of that type get moved in. So you can see that it's really easy to move a bunch of items between one location and another because you can just click rather than having to move each one individually. Back over in Bedrock, if we try to do the same thing, let's take a look and see what will happen. So if we open up this shulker box, there's a full inventory of cobbled deep slate. And if we shift click, it will just move one at a time. So instead of being able to move them all together, you have to go through and click on each individual one in order to move the full box. The next comparison that we are going to take a look at is the order in which items are moved between two locations. So if we go ahead and start moving these items, you'll notice that it goes from the top left corner down to the right corner in the hotbar. And it's going to be the same for all of these items. So if we want it to be in the same order, we have to start from the right and go right to left. Over in Bedrock, however, if we do the same thing, when we move the items, you'll notice that instead of going right to left, it goes left to right. So it stays in the same order in which it was in the shulker box. The next item that we're going to look at is one that you would probably only see if you have a bunch of entities in one spot, like these sheep here. If you drop in, you'll notice in Java, it's really difficult to walk around between them. With the same set of sheep, if we drop in, you can see immediately how much easier it is to get around. You're not getting bumped, you're not getting pushed, you can get to wherever you need to go. Our last comparison is going to be the scaffolding block because there are some unique characteristics in each version that we can take a look at. So going over to the corner here, you can see when you go up in Java, let me just move over a little bit, and you can see we go up one block at a time, which is very different than going in the center where you can move around very freely. If you need to build scaffolding up from the top block, you can't just click on it because what that'll do is send the scaffolding off in whichever direction you are pointing. Instead, you need to hold shift and then click, and that'll allow you to place scaffolding blocks going upwards. And then when you reach the top and you want to go out, just click on the side in the direction that you want to go. When you're all done with the scaffolding, you can go up and one click breaks all of the blocks. The scaffolding block over in Bedrock is a little bit different because you can't move up one block at a time. If we go over here to the corner, you'll see, let me try going out a little bit further. Let's see. There we go. So you can see you still go up and down in a smooth motion. And then when you're at the top, you can just easily click to go up because in Bedrock, when you need to go sideways, you just go off to the side. You don't have to be actually clicking on the block. You can just click off to the side in the direction you want to go. When it's time to break the scaffolding, it does take a little bit more time than over in Java. And you can see with this little animation how long it takes, but that's it. That's going to do it for today's comparison of the Bedrock and Java editions. If you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like down below. If you want to see more, please subscribe. But until next time, thank you so much for joining me. It's been great having you here. I look forward to seeing you again. And until then, see you later.